Hello, hello, hello. What's up, party people? Tonight we are talking about how to spot all the tricky names for sugar on an ingredients label. Really quickly, if you're new here, let me introduce myself. But if you have already come back to me, then welcome back, girl. You are awesome. If you're new, like I said, my name is Renee Paulson. I'm a recovering food and sugar addict, but also a healthy living and nutrition coach. For most of my life, I was consuming an average of 3 cups of sugar a day. I know that that's very hard to believe, and people are like, what? How is that possible? Soda, number one. Number one culprit is soda. But beyond that, I just really loved sweets and cookies. I never met a cookie that I didn't like. And even to the point where I started losing organs. I am now sans gallbladder. And even that didn't work to get my health in order. I literally had to be hit in the face with a big truck. I am not lying about all of this, by the way. If you think that's crazy, I ran to the gas station and get a candy bar and also a pack of cigarettes and left and made an illegal left-hand turn and was T-boned on my driver's side. I broke my back, my sacrum, and my pelvis. And beyond that, nobody would wheel me out to go get candy and a cigarette. So I kind of had to give on a few things and literally started doing research about health and pain, mostly pain and pain management, because I don't know if you've ever experienced pain, but intense pain like that, like pain where I broke my back and I was just I would just shake in pain. And so really started doing research on pain management. That's where, come to find out, sugar causes inflammation in the body, and kind of delved in through there. So most of the other programs for food and sugar addicts, mostly food addicts, is a complete and total abstinence, which again is not ideal or realistic for nowadays. So I went about kind of on my own health journey to find a way to recover and still learn moderation. So it was a big, long road, but now down over 100 pounds, I actually spend that energy and help other women not only detox from sugar, but I still love a cookie here and there. So I teach moderation. So not just detoxing from sugar, but really how to lose weight and what are some big culprits, especially sugar is a really, really big one because it is so highly addictive. Your brain literally spikes in dopamine before you get the thing that you want. So I teach moderation, but really showing you how to control that. Today I want to talk about sugar and literally all of its tricky names. There is over 50 different names for sugar, anywhere ranging from Maltodextrin, which is a very, very common one to use because it can help be a binding agent. You've got high fructose corn syrup, glucose, fructose, dextrose, anything that's an ose. But the food companies have now, before they all knew we can't really show them how much sugar is in there. You have to see it on the label, but once you see how many times sugar is added, and even things that you have no idea would have sugar. What's a really good example for this? Even pasta sauce is a good example. Peanut butter is a really good example. Those things where added sugar is put in there, but for why? What is the purpose? And I will tell you the purpose is because the food company will put these ingredients in there because not only does it make the food taste better, for sure, 100% legit, the food will taste better when you add sweetness to it, or you add sweetness and salt. Like Coca-Cola, they add sodium into that because it will make you thirsty, so you'll end up drinking more. The food companies are incredibly smart, and they have a bunch of people on this, on these boards that try and figure out how to make you a repeat customer. They are not in the order business, they are in the reorder business. So how to make you come back for more is to make the product, number one, taste really delicious, and also light up all those receptors so you want to come back and eat more and repeat and buy that thing again. So number one, when I start coaching people and when I start talking with anybody, is to start looking at the nutrition label. So many times, and I don't understand why this is not taught in school, is how to read a nutrition label and also an ingredients list. for example, did you know that the list of ingredients on the ingredients list, does that make sense? The list is the number one thing that is on the ingredients list is the majority of the ingredient in the product, if that makes sense. And then from there on, it goes down and down and down. So you always see at the end, like less than 2% of this, and it's at the very, very bottom. It's because those are the little ingredients. And like when you have the first one, that's the biggest ingredient. Example, on this can of beans, the biggest ingredient is prepared navy beans, obviously number one. So that's going to be the ingredient that has the most amount in there, if that makes sense. I hope that I explained that properly. And then from there on out. So like growing up, my mom always had the rule about cereal that if the first or second ingredient was sugar, that I wasn't allowed to get it and put it in the cart. And that sucked really bad for me when I was growing up because like things like, what's that one? It's like Trix. I was going to say Twix, but that's a candy bar. Trix. Trix are for kids. I never got that because I think the second ingredient is sugar. But that would be why is those large ingredients, those are in the beginning. So first thing I tell people to do is really get the habit of either you're right-handed or left-handed. I happen to be right-handed. They line things up so nice on the shelf like this, and we do the same thing in our pantry so we can see the label. I want you to grab that sucker and turn it around. Grab, turn. This is the habit I want you to get into, and just really looking at not only the nutrition facts. Nutrition facts are great. And yes, it's incredibly important to read that. But what I want to really focus on today is the ingredients list. So in the ingredients list here, we've got prepared navy beans, water, brown sugar, and then contains 2% less of, cured bacon salt and the cornstarch and all of those things. So getting in the habit of looking at the ingredients list, and literally I'm going to post a thing on the comments list of all the names the sugar goes by. Anything, like I said, that ends with an O, sucrose, or if you have the fake sugars like sucralose, things like that. Now they've gotten with beet sugar. This has brown sugar in it, cane juice crystals, all of these names. So looking through, and I'm going to say about 80% of the foods on the grocery store shelves that are processed, this is a processed food, anything that went through a process, is going to have added sugar in there. And it'll have it in either one form or multiple forms. And like I said, one of the very common ones, Maltodextrin, is a very common one. And then just getting used to, this is really the only other thing that I've got right now that has sugar in it, but it's a great example because when you turn to look at the ingredients list, this particular ingredient actually has several different kinds of sugar, and it's got number one, it's got organic cane sugar. That's not the first ingredient, but that's the first sugar in there that we've got. Then it's got organic invert cane syrup. Cane syrup, anything that's also like a syrup. I want you to think of dousing your pancakes in maple syrup. It says cane juice crystals, cane juice syrup. What else do we've got? Date syrup, grape syrup. That's another one that I hadn't seen on there. But those types of things are going to lead, that's going to be a sugar. It's also got honey. And also down here, it's got in the chocolate chips, it's got sugar as well. So they will add multiple different ways. That way they can sweeten it in the hopes of you not knowing, oh, maltodextrin is another sweetener. I saw a peanut butter when I was doing the peanut butter reel that had not only cane sugar, but it also had molasses being another sweetener. So there's so many different names that sugar can go by that it can start to get lost in this huge paragraph of words, especially if you don't know what you're looking for. If you're looking for something that says sugar and they're going to use barley malt, here's another one. Like if they're going to use that, you're going to be like, oh, barley malt. If I didn't know better and thinking back to when I had no idea, which was not that long ago, I would think barley malt. I'd be like, oh yeah, barley malt. That sounds healthy. Barley sounds healthy. So barley malt, like malt things, unsure. I would have never looked at that and been like, that's sugar. That is a sweetener right there. What else have we got? Treacle, molasses, malt syrup. What's another one? Muscovado sugar. That's a new one that they've been using too. What else? Dextrin, castor sugar, coconut sugar, beet sugar, the lactose. All those things going to go straight into the body as sugar. Now, again, the reasons for this is so that, number one, the product tastes good. That is the number one telltale sign of a good company, and especially all these food companies that like Kraft and things like that, they've been around for a while, so they know their formula. So they want to make their product taste good, and they also want to make you a repeat customer, but they don't, especially nowadays. I'm finding that a lot of these food companies are actually cutting back on how much sugar they're adding to their products. I was really surprised when I went and looked at peanut butter and all of those things. But the other question with that then stands with, well, why are we adding it at all? And I understand that the product would taste better with it, but that's also part of the problem, is that when your taste buds become so used to a product tasting like XYZ, when you take that sugar out, then it doesn't taste the same. And your taste buds go, wait a second. I just ran into this actually with my own mom because she loves bread. And I had her order Ezekiel bread. So she ordered Ezekiel bread and had to wait for like a long time to get it. And she messaged me when we were talking, and she's like, it tastes like cardboard. And to me, now I love Ezekiel bread. But I remember that, several years ago when I was just starting to eat it, and I was like, this is gross. Like, I have the taste buds of a 5-year-old. So when you have that all the time and you take the sugar out or you take those things out, you're right, it doesn't taste the same. But the other problem with that is then our taste buds have now become so polluted by all of the added sugar that's literally in everything. And we don't even know it. Our sweet receptors get basically overloaded consistently. Even if something is supposed to be salty, they will still add sugar to have that, because they want it to hit all of the receptors on the tongue. That is the whole point of the food company. They have something called the bliss point because they want to get you to that point, the bliss point, where this is hitting all of the receptors, your brain's lighting up, it feels amazing, it tastes amazing, and you're on a high until you run out or you're not. And so they make you that repeat customer. So it's just really working to know that, number one, we're being manipulated. And that's a hard pill to swallow. I did not like that. And that was part of being able to recover from sugar addiction, is I don't like to be told what to do. So just coming to the realization that we are being manipulated by the food companies, and that is their full intention to do so that they can line their pockets. And choosing what you're going to invest in and what you're not. Now, a lot of people will say, well, why? I wouldn't want any of that. Again, that's for me, that's not a realistic view to have, and I like to choose to have moderation. So if I have treats, I will, instead of choosing to have those big processed foods, instead I'll choose maybe like a small business or something local that I can have instead, and still be satisfied and still have that treat and still have that moderation. But again, it's just being aware. And now, like, I'll stock my house with this thing. This is, I don't even know how long that's been in there. My kids haven't gotten to it yet because it's hidden. But I'll stock my pantries with stuff like this because there's no added sugar. Is this the most healthy and most amazing thing that you could have? No, but I will also tell you that by having, my little planned cheese squares that don't have added sugar, and having that with maybe my healthy salad or maybe my healthy protein shake, it makes me feel like I'm still getting that satisfactory, like little snack, little like, you kind of feel like, ooh, I'm kind of doing something bad, but I'm kind of not. And, get that satisfaction with the snacks, but really keep that added sugar for, instead of doing it through like snacks and stuff like this, doing it through, a treat that is planned, that is thought out, and that you can really truly enjoy, because I don't want my sugar and stuff like this. I mean, I want a freaking cupcake. I don't know about you. And that's just how I roll. And it took a long time actually to do that pantry switch out. But I am actually thinking about making some type of like challenge. But some of the easy things, like swap out your pantry items that have added sugar for, maybe something like this that I've swapped out. So let me know in the comments if that's something that you would be interested in seeing. Because I remember, like I said, the first time when I really started and I opened up my pantry and I looked at all the things that had added sugar, and I was like, who thinks that there would be added sugar in this? Like, holy cow. And just making those swaps throughout, the years or throughout the year, I would say, through a full pantry swap makes it a little bit easier, instead of, I don't know anybody, especially not right now with the cost of food, that would be throwing food away, like, ugh. So don't worry about throwing your food away, but just being aware. Go to your pantry right now and just start looking at the ingredients list and become familiar with those, the tricky names that sugar can go by, like fructose and fruit juice or fruit juice concentrate. That's another one right there that's hidden, that people are like, oh, that's healthy because I'm getting fruit juice. But really, fruit juice, yes, it's a step above like soda, but not by very much. By the fact that it doesn't have high fructose corn syrup. But once you take out the fiber of the fruit and it's just the fruit juice, then it's just sugar. It's the same thing. So I hope that you found this helpful and interesting. I don't want to get up on my soapbox, but it makes me frustrated sometimes when I remember how eye-opening it was when I went to my pantry and looked at how much added sugar was literally in everything, and I was shocked and floored, and I had no idea that sugar can go by all these tricky names. So make sure to check the ingredients list. Always scan that ingredients list, because most likely, if it's something, like I said, that's processed, 80% of that has added sugar in it. So chances are 8 out of 10 times that there's going to have some type of sugar in there, in whatever it is that's on the shelf. So that's kind of a bummer too, because it's like, you go and you're like, why? Like, even I remember when I gave up Skippy because it has added sugar and palm oil, and I was just like, why? So it can be very frustrating, but finding those really good swaps that's very, very helpful. So let me know, like I said, if you want to see that. But I thank you so much for spending the evening with me and learning all these tricky names that sugar can go by. And I'm sure there will be more in the future. Who knows? Unless maybe the food companies wake up and stop adding sugar to everything. But how we do that is we vote with our dollar. So if you are constantly buying things that don't have added sugar in there, either for yourself or your family. I have a lot of women who are like, well, I'm going to do this for myself, and then they don't do it for their kids. And I'm like, wait. If you're having struggles now, eliminate those struggles and teach them. Not saying don't give them treats, but, teach them so that, I don't know. That's just my own personal opinion, I guess. All right, before I get myself into any more trouble, I hope that you have an amazing evening. And stay tuned Thursdays in the private group, which I will put a link to in the comments here. Thursdays, I'm going to do a bit of a spill the tea. It's going to be kind of like a background crazy real life story of me and my health journey and things I've learned and, what the heck has happened. So this Thursday, tune in. I'm going to be talking about radio and the time I had to eat radioactive pills. Yep, radioactive, like legitimately a lady in a full suit, and they gave me these pills out of a tube. I'm not going to say anymore. If you want to know, you've got to tune in this Thursday night. Go join the group. I'm going to put it in the comments. And yeah, I hope that you have an amazing evening, and I will see you on Thursday to tell you all about radioactive pills. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.